So I have the website loaded up. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna scroll my finger and you're going to see just all the images coming down. I'm gonna stop somewhere, randomly put my finger on whoever stops at. That's whose portfolio I'm gonna be reviewing. And here we go. So I'm scrolling. We are going to go with Misa. So here it is. Okay, it's loading up. So the first image that we're seeing on my screen is really, it's not that exciting of an image. And I'm surprised that the agency has put that as the first one because he booked some really, really big campaigns. I just saw a quick preview at the bottom, but this doesn't really say anything. There's really nothing wrong with it, but there's also not a lot right with it. There's no emotion. It's completely dead inside. I'm gonna go to the next one here. This is where he's on the street. The thing that I wish that photographers did more, especially with male models, because they put their hands in their pockets, is that don't do this where I can see your knuckles. This is best and this is best. Not to say that that works every single time, but really these work the best with the posing of the hands. So keep that in mind, and that's something that I wish photographers did. This image is a perfect explanation that women are the stars in modeling ads and campaigns and everything, and men are just the accessories, and they've used him here perfectly. But the way the photographer lined this up and really enhanced the lines of the neck and everything is such a perfect photo. For him, it's a cosmetic campaign, so it's gonna be important for his portfolio, but it's obviously not featuring him too much. We're gonna go to this one right here. Okay, so we have a Dolce & Gabbana ad. The thing about the D&G is here's what's working really, really beautiful. Whoever the photographer was, obviously a higher end photographer if they're doing Dolce & Gabbana. Okay, so we have our model Misa, and that's the one right there at the bottom. But look at the lines of the model on the upper left-hand corner. The way his neck is like this, it's this beautiful, beautiful straight line. Look for lines. Geometry works really well in photography. The model that has his arms around Misa, I don't get it. It looks like a high school football photo where they try to act tough. And then let's actually look at Misa. It's quite possibly a perfect photo. There's your preview. His neck is long. Necks are always sexy for women, for men. It just shows a lot. That's why like the vampire Dracula movie is always about the neck, but it's also a life form. It's just everything. That's why animals even go for the jugular. So to hide a person like this, they look shorter and insignificant, always show the model's higher, taller neck, and it's a great way to make someone look taller. What I do love about this too is that none of their shoes are sideways. When you put the shoes sideways, they look bigger then, so their shoes are pointing forward. However, I also think that they weren't positioned the best. I would have always liked to have one forward and then one a little bit to the side. It doesn't have to be a perfect side, but a little bit of an angle, so I get to see what the design looks like. You want to keep track of that as a photographer because brands want to see that you can do this, that you can take their clothing and position it the right way, obviously because they want to sell their brands. Let's go to another one. I want you to look first at the posing of the two guys on the far left. I think one of them is Misa, the one nearest us. Actually, I don't know which one, but the hands in the pocket, this or this. They both actually have this. That's a great way. So like a Dolce & Gabbana, they get it. They want that kind of posing. So when you look at the first black and white photo, it didn't have that. That was clearly a test shot. Hands in the pocket, obviously, now you guys will listen to it because Dolce & Gabbana is doing it that way. So keep in mind, for men, you want to do that because it keeps the pants, it keeps the clothing in its good shape and you're not showing the knuckle thing. And not only when you fist your hand like this, do the knuckles show through the material, but it also gives the pant a misshape. Basically, it doesn't show the shape the right way. So the next one is from Adon magazine. I'm not a fan of this photo, even though it is for a decently respected magazine. I see very minimal expression from him. I see that his bow tie is crooked. So if there's no stylist on set, even if there is a stylist on set, as a photographer, you are the first eye and you're the final eye. So everything is gonna come right back down to you. So his bow tie being a little bit crooked steals the attention. You know what else steals the attention is that jacket, but that's okay. That's a stylistic decision. But another thing I want you to pay attention to, number one, look at his zipper area. It's concave. You want to make sure that people's zippers areas aren't like bulging out too much, but also not going in too much. It's just an even flat line. And then also look how his hands are clasped like this. It creates like a funny shape, and when you do that, my eyes will go there first than anything else. It's best to show hands like the way I'm holding it like this, where not too much texture is happening. So the way he has his hands crossed, not my favorite. The agency obviously put it on his website, not my favorite. This photo wouldn't make me want to hire him. However, when we look at the cover of this magazine, that actually would. He has decent expression on his face, even though there's a cigarette hanging and everything. As far as photography is related, I can see both eyes clearly. I can see that he can have some emotion on his face, and that's pretty much all that is. If a model doesn't have emotion, then they're just a meat sack, basically. Like, that's what we are. We're all just like flesh walking around. If a model doesn't have emotions, then why are we gonna put the clothes on them? You want that model to be able to convey a message, whatever the message is, whatever gender, have a message. So one way you can get a model to have a really great photo and to get a really great expression is to have them think about something. It doesn't have to be anything really deep. It doesn't have to be anything wild. It could be as simple as think of your favorite food, think of your favorite car. And then that will have them think of something, and there'll be a little bit of a spark in their eyes. Another Dolce & Gabbana ad. I'm going to be honest with you, I don't know which one he is. I think he is the one on the far right. There's really nothing to critique in this photo, but I do want to show that he's a great model, and he does get a lot of campaigns from D&G, which is important. But let's just talk about what does work right on this, is that when you have multiple people on screen, and if they're looking in multiple directions, that's super, super distracting. The fact that there are three gentlemen in the same photograph, that's important, and that they're all looking in the same, right at the camera lens or at a certain spot that the photographer directs them to look at. That's how you get a winning photo. It bugs me when everyone's like this, and I'm like, I don't know what to look at, you know? So just putting that out there, I hope that helps you. He's a great model. Okay, I want to talk about this because normally I don't like photos where guys are like this. God, I hate that. Or they're like this. This one bugs me probably the most. This one bugs me because it cuts their torso and it makes them look shorter. This is so model mayhem, like beginner model pose. That's why that bugs me. But there's something about this one that works, and if they're going to do a newbie type of pose, then actually he just happens to be a good looking guy. I don't think I'm that impressed by this photo because he's not looking at the camera. If you have blue eyes like that and your shirt is perfectly matching it, look at the camera. Do the model a favor. If they have beautiful eyes, then make sure that you are selling that so that they are perfectly positioned to book more and more jobs. The one on the right, I don't know what that is selling at all. I really, really don't. He's not looking at the camera. There's no emotions. I don't understand why the agency has these photos down for us. I love this photo right here. Okay, so this one, there's all kinds of emotions. And for guys, we hold our emotions right here. It's like, hey, 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 you know, the different things, right? And so the fact that he can really work this brow area is highly important, but also look at the lines of his body. Like along the side, there's like a really cool V shape, the way his hands are separated from the body. And then this hand is out. No hands are crossing the body. That's one of my least favorite, unless you are cold and you're trying to show that it's cold and you bring the jacket in. But the hands are going outside the body. That's really important. He's extending the neck and he's got a lot of emotions. It's very simple when you work with male talent because they are somewhat the accessories, and he's able to even work with this branch and everything. So the takeaway here, extend the neck. If you can separate the hands from the body, so this versus this, it's bigger. Show lines like, you know, like a nice V shape, it's great. I'm going to say this photo is nearly perfection. It shows us good looks. It shows expression right here. So remember the emotion, a lot of times for guys, they carry it here. He's given a little bit of a squinch or a smize. And also the lighting is just beautiful. We get to see him in the eye, or the lighting hits his eye, so we get to see. If a model is really, some models have beautiful lips, some models have great bodies, but if they have beautiful eyes, then you make sure that that sun or that light always hits their eyes. So in this case, there is one going right into the eye, but then even the shadowy part isn't super, super dark. for this next photograph. It's a great photo. Obviously, look at the talent, it's great, the lighting is great, but the only thing I would say about the posing is my eyes don't go to his face first. It doesn't go to his body. It goes to that part of the hand, the fist. And when you look at it, it's when you make a definitive shape like this or like whatever, it puts my focus there. And that could be great in a candid photo. But if his hand had just dropped like the other hand, it wouldn't steal the attention. I would actually look at the face first. Look at the hands. Anything that is such a distinct shape is going to steal the attention. You always want people to look this region first, this region second, and then the body third. And overall, obviously, whatever they are modeling would be very important and near the top of that list. This is a good clean shot. That's all that it is. There's barely any emotion, but there's not emotion. If he wasn't a good looking person, I think this photo is just like, eh. What I will say though is just make sure that when you look at the clothing of the talent, just make sure like the collar here and everything, that the collar isn't something that steals the attention or that distracts. So in this case, I wish that sat on the shirt. This is a very common thing. So you go and you just sit on the shirt, and then that keeps it from being scrunched up this way. It keeps it down in the back. I'm about to show you guys a perfect photo. Okay, so this one, perfection. He's got blue eyes, you have a blue backdrop. If you can match the backdrop or the clothing to the eyes, that's almost an instant win. You look at the straight line there, and you look at the straight line and the straight line and the straight line. This image is a perfect one. It works in color, it works in black and white. This should not be this low in their book. It should be closer to the top. Whenever you look at something, see if you can squint and draw lines, like the side, here, the neck, the arms, the legs, whatever it is. If you can draw shapes, if you can make something geometric, you're going to win. So we got kind of like a square shape almost. Here, 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 here. Geometry is going to be your best friend. So I hope that helps you. Let's go through a couple more. Here we go. He has a smile, great. It's important to show teeth when you're looking at a portfolio, because if they have bad teeth, I want to see that as a hiring photographer. If they have great teeth, I want to see that because I want to know what my limitations are. I want to see if I can show my client for a fashion shoot, I'm like, oh, but they have bad teeth, and they're like, oh, but we wanted a smiling shot, so then we can't hire this model. So always make sure that when you present photographs that there is stuff that is smiling, stuff that is not. Show them teeth, okay? And then also this one is really important. Just show the movements. What I really, really appreciate about this photograph on the right side is this hand gesture. It's not like this, it's not like this. It's just like a very simple shape, and it's holding up this part of his eyes, but it's not smushing the face. You never want to smush the face, and this works perfectly, but also the hand isn't that huge. This overall works. As far as even the clothes, this one works a little bit. I just wish that the photographer in post would have brought that suit lapel in, and then also the jacket, just cleaned it up on the first photo a tiny bit so that the wrinkles aren't stealing. But overall, it's a fantastic photo. Let's go one more for him. This is a pro tip. My editor does this. I think it's a Hungarian thing. I don't know. He's like sitting at his computer right now editing this going, what is it? This photo is really, really good. And it's great for male photos. When you tell the model, don't look directly sometimes. You ask them to look 1,000 miles out. It's this weird thing that makes the eyes pop out more, and it helps the model look almost intimidating. This one just works so well, and he does it perfectly. Chin up a little bit, the neck is long, and he doesn't have to do much for you. This is a fantastic photo. So that 1,000-mile stare is a pro tip from me to you. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed. Watch this video if you want more modeling tips.